in theory and the ideal world, can an Islamic democracy truly exist, or is it just a fantasy some more Western Muslims talk about? That's the...
Yeah, that's an example, to be honest. This is one of those examples, like the word secularism and theocracy, capitalism, communism, Marxism, all of these things. We have no need to try to fit into any of these models and use any of these words and any of these terms. All of these terms and all of these concepts and all of these models grew out of their experience, grew out from their history, grew out from their ideologies and their dysfunctional societies, and we have no need for that. We don't need to come up with something like that. I mean, when you talk about democracy? First, I don't know what it means, Islamic democracy, but democracy at the core of it, why any of us think it's a good idea, is the basic idea of accountability of the government, is accountability of the government and the consent of the governed, which can then then the governed can withdraw their consent, which should mean the removal of the government. So there's supposed to be accountability and consent, which just means a relationship between the government and the governed, between the ruler and the ruled. There's supposed to be a relationship. That can be formed by any number of ways. That can exist through any number of ways, and it has throughout history. But you had to come up with a way, because, like I've said many times, you have lost any connection to any traditional authority structures. You've destroyed your own families. Forget about extended families. Forget about tribes. Forget about clans. Forget about all of that. None of that can exist. So you don't have any traditional, normal human relationships within the society through which authority can be established. That's not the case in the Muslim world. We have it. Our brother was just talking about in Jordan how they tried to have these parliamentary elections, and it just came down to tribes voting for their people. Well, you don't need, what do you need the parliamentary elections for? You've already got a system. You've already got the tribal system. You've already got the Mukhtar system. You've already got that. Just leave it as it is. You've already got your people. But now in the Muslim world, in the Arab world, and so on, people talk about democracy. Why? Because we want to throw off the government, the unnatural, inorganic governmental systems that were imposed upon us by the colonizers.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be that now we have to adopt some new Western way of doing things.
Yeah.
We should just go back to what we have, because those systems continue to exist in the Muslim world, with or without your democratic system, with or without your whatever else you have, your parliamentary, so on and so on. We don't need any of this. We don't need to try to fit our systems of authority and our systems of governing into any kind of a Western model that exists, because all of the models that they have are based on their experience and their history. And just like with democracy, it was originally, like say in America, democracy originally in America, as we all know, was intended to be extremely limited in its in those who were participating in it. It was the landowners, it's the property owners who were supposed to be participating in the democracy and to elect their representatives to represent them, because they're all from the same class, they're all from the same group. So they were creating more or less a class-based tribe. They created a class-based tribal system that they were calling democracy. But everyone decided, it sounded so good, you talked about it in such a nice way that people decided, well, we all want that. Everybody should get a vote. Everyone should there should be equal rights for everybody to vote, and so on and so on. That's not in the Constitution, by the way. The right to vote isn't in there. But so this is the problem, that even the original intention of the democracy, which was to create an artificial class-based, financial-based tribe and tribal system of representation that basically sort of mimics the system that exists in the system that exists in traditional societies. But you can't do that in America, because you all come from different places. You don't have anything in common. You're not all family. You're not all a tribe. So you have to come up with some other way to do it. And so you came up with this so-called democracy. Because if you think about it, what's more of, for, and by the people than a tribal system? That's by definition of, for, and by the people.
Yeah.
So no, I don't see why we have to continuously look at Western concepts and Western terms and Western models and see, oh, well, can we make that work for us? No, you can't. Period. You can't, because it was never created and developed to address you and your society and your history and your unique problems and the unique character of your people.